In this video, we'll discuss the differences between DevOps and GitOps approach. In DevOps approach, whenever a developer commit code changes to the Git repository, a CI/CD pipeline will be triggered. This pipeline will be responsible for building the code, testing the code, and pushing the Docker images to the container registry, pulling those images, and finally deploying those changes to the Kubernetes environment. So basically this entire approach works on push based system, and there are some challenges with this approach, and if we closely observe, the main player over here is this CI/CD system. Some of the challenges are the CI/CD system needs to have the credentials of this Kubernetes environment. And the other challenge is, let's say if one of the developer directly commits some changes on the environment using imperative commands, then there is no way to track those changes. And the CI/CD system needs to have read and write access on the cluster. Now if you see, the whole approach is like tightly coupled from start to end. And in this approach, it's bit tough to define the deployment frequency also. So on every commit or with some intervals, so we need to do a lots of tweaks in this CI/CD system to even control the deployment frequency. Now let's check the GitOps approach. In GitOps approach, it will be same up to here. When this pipeline completes build, test, and pushing of the images to the container registry, what we do is we create one more Git repository called you can say source of truth repository or desired state repo. In this repo, we declare the desired state which we are expecting on the Kubernetes cluster. We declare using YAML files, and there are mainly 2 to 3 approaches which are generally used. One is the customization way of declaring the manifest files. The other is hem charts. So using this set of approaches, we declare the desired state in this repository. So now this pipeline will target to this repository and define, like let's say if it has built a new image, then it will update the manifest file in this, which is present in this repository. On the Kubernetes side, what we do is we deploy GitOps agent. This GitOps agent will be responsible for pulling the changes from the source of truth repository and deploying it to the Kubernetes environment. This GitOps agent will always compare the desired state with the current state on the Kubernetes cluster. If it finds any differences, then it will act on that immediately. So this approach mainly works on the pull based system. Here we are pushing, here we are pulling. So some of the benefits of this approach are, now this CI/CD system need not to store cluster credentials. and it prevents changes done using imperative commands. So let's say if the developer commits some direct changes using imperative commands, then these GitOps solutions comes with a feature called prune, using which they disallow, you can say, whenever a new pull happens, it always compares the desired and current state of the cluster, and it will remove those changes done using imperative commands. And now here this system need not to have read and write access to the cluster, but this uh, cluster, this GitOps agent, the account through which this agent runs, that account needs to have a read or write access on this source of truth repository. Now if you see, the system is now loosely coupled. So here we observed the entire system was tightly coupled. If one breaks, then the entire system fails. Here they are loosely coupled here. Here we can define the deployment frequency also. So in GitOps agent we can define like how often we want to pull the changes. So we define the reconciliation interval. So whenever a reconciliation interval happens, this GitOps agent make a request to this desired state repo and pulls the changes. So this way we can define the deployment frequency also. And GitOps agent can also pull latest images from container registry. So it can pull those latest images and also make changes to the source of truth. So some of the GitOps solutions provide this feature as well. So on a high level, if we see, these are some of the challenges and benefits of GitOps approach. But as we know, DevOps is mainly about culture, process and tools. Here it's all about tools to solve this problem. And in the same context, we have this GitOps, which is more like a technique which helps us in solving the deployment challenges. So it has now decoupled this entire approach and helped us in making the process very easy when it comes to the deployment. So that's it for this video. Thank you for your time. From the next video we'll start Flux CD. So that is one of the GitOps solution. Thank you for your time.